Hi, my name is Brianne Crofts. I'm a real estate agent here in St. George, Utah, and today I'm joined by Joseph Prete. Joseph is a councilman. He is running for re-election after serving the last 4 years in Hurricane City. You also work as an estate planning attorney. And Joseph, you are Canadian born, but you found your way here to St. George and now live in Hurricane with your family. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Sure. I did grow up in Eastern Canada, Ontario, Canada, and after serving a mission in Russia for the Church of Jesus Christ, I have spent the last 25 years here in the United States. My mother is from Idaho, so I became a U.S. citizen about 25 years ago, and I've been here in Hurricane for about 8 years. I went to college at BYU for undergraduate and for law school, and worked as an attorney in Las Vegas for 10 years and came here about, again, 8 years ago and built a house in Hurricane, and it's great to be here.
Well, I know for me, I've gotten to know Joseph a little bit, and I found you to be a very thoughtful and inspiring person, so I'm excited to get you off that billboard and here talking to everyone. So thank you for opening up and talking to us a little bit today. So I have seen photos of you enjoying Quail Creek. You're at a lot of business ribbon cutting ceremonies and even just out at local farmers markets supporting the community. What are some of your favorite things about living in Hurricane?
Well, there are so many things I love about Hurricane. It is one of the last small towns in this region in southern Utah, and I hope we can keep that feel and not lose that as development comes in. But Hurricane just has such a sense of community, sense of patriotism. There is, just incredible people. There's a pride in our heritage and a love of country and a faith. It's a very God-fearing people in Hurricane, and just an amazing place to live, and it's especially the people that make it so great. But yes, we've got tons of events and activities and recreational opportunities in Hurricane and such beauty. It's really I can't think of a better place to live.
That's so neat to hear. That's getting harder and harder to find. As I have clients moving here from other parts of the nation, I hear those exact values and things that they're bringing up. That's what's attracting them to southern Utah, and that they're so happy to have those things back in their life again. With this recreation, would we find you on a motorcycle or behind a boat somewhere or hiking out in the Zion Mountains? Where is the Prete family usually hanging?
Well, I do not own a boat or a motorcycle.
Okay.
I've got a four-wheeler. Probably hiking is what I do more than anything. I love to get out and hike. Maybe that's because I'm a little bit frugal and don't have the money for some of these extra things. I have 8 children, so I don't have a lot of free money to spend on those types of things, but you'll find me doing any of those things with friends who do have those resources.
Yes.
And so it's great to have good friends that invite me along.
I've heard that a friend's boat, a friend's pool, a friend's camper, it's like the best ownership, right? Just use it, enjoy it, and then send it on its way. But I can relate. We have 7 kids as well, so it's a lot to juggle all the things. But that's great that you get out to hike and just enjoy the community. It's good for the soul, so that's so fun. Joseph, you've written about just navigating these complex issues that come up as a city councilman. Sometimes you have to really tap into your own heart and your values on different topics, and that might not be what's popular, maybe even something that could cause problems in some of your close relationships. Where do you find that courage, or how would you inspire others to really tune into that themselves? And for you, doing it in the public eye, it's at a different level, but something that's really important.
No, that's a great question. The least enjoyable part of being on a city council is to cast votes that are going to be received differently by different people, and some will find them very offensive, and you don't want to be an enemy to anybody, but your job is to do what's in the best interest of the entire city. That's what you signed up for, and it does take some backbone and some courage, and sometimes you get shouted at, and it's not always pleasant. It especially hurts when it's you have to cast a vote that you know is in the best interest of the city, but may be unfavorable to people in your neighborhood or people in your church congregation or even to family members. That is difficult. What I try to do is when an issue comes in, I try to look deep and research and spend the time to think through all of the issues from all different angles. I try to not get caught up in the way something's been presented, because often there's pitch involved with how developers might bring an issue. I try to think of the unintended consequences. I try to make sure that I'm seeing things clearly and that I'm seeing things long term, so that the decision is something I can stand by 10 years from now and feel comfortable with. And so a lot of times people in the room with the city council are expressing a loud minority opinion, and it takes courage to not always vote the way that people in the room want you to vote for. But that's how I approach it. I always just try to keep in mind what's in the best interest of the whole community.
Well, that's amazing. What an incredible skill to have, and an important one. Were you just a little Joseph Prete that was out there as a little kid that still had the same quality? Is it something that you've nurtured and developed more as you've grown?
Well, I don't remember how I was back then.
It hasn't been that long.
But no, I think I've always been a thinker. And the fact that I went to law school probably is a reflection that I like to look at things from many angles and think deeply about things. I loved philosophy as a teenager. That was an important thing in my development. But I think there's always been a part of me there, but it's obviously been refined and grown over the years in my profession.
I think that's something that people have huge respect for, and it's something that I respect in you and just really appreciate. Sometimes in our society today, it's easy to get distracted by the smoke and mirrors and things going on, and so that quality that you have to just be so meticulous and really analyze issues top to bottom, look behind the scenes a little bit at things that maybe aren't obvious at first, but really you are such a thoughtful person, and to take that time and have a bigger picture and vision of what you want for the city and to really stay true to that with maybe something that seems like a small decision and sometimes really big decisions. So that's great that you're able to do that. Speaking of hurricane, there's just so many topics. There's water conservancy, and there's more crime rates going up, and a lot of things that are happening. What are some of your views on these issues that are hot topics right now?
You're right, there are many issues, and all of those and others, but maybe I'll spend a moment to talk about water. So water is obviously a huge issue in southern Utah. We had high hopes for the Lake Powell pipeline, and it may still happen. I hope it still happens, but right now it's kind of on hold. And if that is not something that's for sure there, it forces us to really look deeper at all of our other resources. And I know the Water Conservancy District is doing its best to explore all different options, including conservation and reuse and additional reservoirs and eliminating waste where sometimes we have old pipes where water's leaking, and so they're doing what they can from all these different angles. But it's a very serious issue. It's not just something that we can be casual about and just hope for the best. I think we have to be very serious and come together as Southern Utah communities to act responsibly. And if we put our head in the sand and water runs out and development comes to a screeching halt, what does that do to our economy? What does that do to all of the people that depend on those, on that growth for their income and for their careers? So I think we've got to look at it from many different angles. I do think one angle that maybe isn't looked at enough for water is we may need to look at the pace of growth. Maybe growth needs to slow down a little bit, and it isn't just about finding more water and water conservation, maybe there needs to be some slowing of the growth so that we can, have that water hold out longer until we find other solutions.
I can tell even just that topic, you're very thoughtful with the water, but also just all the ripples that come from any of these major things going on and how it affects over time in the short term. And hurricanes changed a ton. I know with some of the land listings I have out near the Copper Rock Golf Course, some of those are up to $30 million for developmental land. The housing prices have gone up dramatically, and there's more commercial and retail and all the things going in. So how are you with just your long-term vision of what you would love to see Hurricane turn into?
That's another great question. Hurricane, I believe, is really a gem, what it is. We have all of this incredible beauty and recreational opportunity all around us, but we're still small. We were only kind of recently discovered. Mm-hmm. In some ways that's good, in some ways that's bad, because it creates a real challenge to keep what we have and not lose that in the face of growth. But my hope for Hurricane is that we can keep our identity, keep those things that we value, that it can stay a family-friendly community, a close-knit community, a patriotic and faith-based community, and that we can still have a small-town feel and an open space and the rural dynamic while still embracing growth that brings and adds to it. We need growth, obviously, to add to our tax base, but also to give us better amenities and better services nearby. And so my hope for Hurricane is that we see the preservation of the good things we have while embracing things that we want, and that we take maybe a proactive role in bringing growth that we want and don't just let it happen on its own. I think if you let it happen on its own, you end up with developers that have the right to do certain things, and they just bring it in and you can't say no, and then before too long your city is transformed into something that isn't true to your heritage and true to who you want to be. So again, I think it takes vision and leadership to help preserve and make the city even better.
As you were talking about that, it reminded me just even of that applies even to just us as humanity. As I look at my children or myself, it's similar. It's preserving that foundation, that grounded version of you, those values and heritage and everything that you came into the world with, and then you're evolving and changing over time, but doing that with thought and doing that intentionally with a vision for the future is so important. And so I love how you apply that to the city, and think that that's an amazing way to view it. So you're coming up for re-election. It's happening in November. Yeah. So there's people out there that think, oh, I'm just one person, why does it matter? Or I don't have that much power to change anything, it's just not that big of a deal. But what would you say to inspire these people that it is super important, and to just empower them that even their local government and city council, that is something that they should focus on and think about and go out and do their part to use their own voice and to cast those votes?
Well, local government probably affects you more than any other level of government. And so I would hope that our local residents would cast votes for their local people, maybe as a top priority, even as much or higher than all the other votes they're asked to cast, because it really does affect your immediate environment. But I guess I would say also that there have been recent elections that have turned on just a handful of votes, and there aren't that many votes cast in Hurricane. So it might be 5 or 10 or 15 votes that makes the difference in who serves, and so your vote does count, and it's important because it's your way of expressing your rights in this incredible country. And I guess I would also say, if you want to get involved and have your voice heard, come to city council meetings, get on committees, get on planning commission or other places. There are ways to to make a difference and have your voice heard, you know, even beyond the voting.
I haven't done that yet, but that inspires me to get out there and participate more. So we've seen you on billboards. I'm sure it's your favorite thing to talk about, but here you are opening up. You're a real person, you're an inspiring person and a great leader. So thank you for just being vulnerable and open to sharing and letting everyone know you a little bit better. So Joseph, moving forward, if people want to get on board with helping with your campaign or just want to know more about you, what are some ways that they can get in touch and be in communication?
Let me first say that if people want to find out a little bit more about me and my views, they can go to my website, which is preteforcitycouncil.com. And people are welcome to email me. My email address and I think phone number are on the website for the city, but my email address is joseph.prete@gmail.com, and my cell phone number is 702-523-6159. Be happy to visit with anybody that has questions about the Hurricane City.
Awesome. Thank you. So yes, get in touch, find out about your local politicians, the council people that are running, and really take that power into your own hands to get out there and be involved in our city. We have something amazing here in Southern Utah, and so it's important to be involved. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.